Can you guys hear me now at all? Is there any way to hear me? Can you hear me? Night Owl. Okay, cool. Maybe very quietly. Oh, my microphone and stuff just broke. Hey, what's up, Night Owl? What's up, Jim? Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. I'm doing a quiet stream tonight. Not only did this microphone's actually a little bit broken, as you can see, or maybe hear. That's what people were saying to me before, was that this microphone wasn't working, and so I was just using my phone audio, and that also wasn't working. And it was just funny because the title of the video was trolling, good or bad. The title of the video was about trolling. And so there we were, thinking and talking about trolling and what it means. And yeah, it's just funny. One of those funny things. Very funny. So, yeah. So very unfortunate. I spent money that I shouldn't have, that I could barely afford to spend on a mic and stuff, just because I wanted slightly better quality, and it all just broke today. It sounds like this. It didn't sound like this yesterday. It didn't sound like this on my stream today. So I'll be okay. But now that my phone audio isn't working, I don't know if that means I need to also buy a new phone. So I have a broken mic, broken microphone on my phone. This is like, you know, if we're talking about mega trolling, this is like Alexander's very good, no bad, horrible, rotten day. That's the way I see it. Maybe there's another way to see it. A little more optimism. A little bit of optimism. Hold on. Clunk. Let me see if we can adjust this just a little bit. Justice, yeah. I don't get it. I probably would have been, if I had more money, I would have been one of those people that went out and spent, you know, $2,000 on recording equipment and stuff. I'm sure of it. I'm sure I would have gone out and bought really nice cameras and videos. But now I'd be happy with just having a phone that works. Yeah, I'd be happy if Night Owl or anyone else didn't say I sounded garbled. What do you guys think of trolling? I was curious. We don't have to talk about trolling, but someone convinced me to shut my stream down yesterday, and now my microphone and everything I had is broken. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, I think. I don't know. It's not great. Yeah. Anyways, put the mic down, clunk, clunk. Just a small clunk there. And so, yeah, I was going to maybe look up, we'll see what's going on in the news. I'll pull up a window. Stupid tripod. Stupid tripod. Let's see, where are we at? Christian Science Monitor. We're going to go to Christian Science Monitor, which isn't really that Christian of a website, but should give us a pulse on what's happening. And yeah, I'm going to, by the way, if you guys want other people to see this amazing, whatever, I want to do the same thing we normally do. By the way, if you guys want other people to see this amazing, whatever, yeah, feel free to offer a like or whatever it is. Be warned, trolls, you have nothing to offer. I love, what's up, Blake and Bob? Now you guys, now this is the major troll, right? Now, Blake and Bob, I'm not joking. I see your chat on my Chromebook, but the reason I didn't respond to any of that right away was it's not showing up on my YouTube chat. Stuff's not filtering. Be warned, trolls. We need a little more. Let me get my actor voice out. Be warned, trolls. You have nothing of value other than meh. And as Bob says meh, so we all say meh. We all must say meh. Gibberish, Bob. Blake's got a cool name, though. Blake's got a cool name. Let me see what the heck is going on with this. Frickin' now I have to look here. Not kidding. The last message I see is Jim Borghini, yes, and Night Owl. And Night Owl. Wow. Hey, MRAI Short says, I'm a new subscriber. First time on your live stream. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. There, you finally fixed your microphone. Yeah, but just barely. Just barely. We don't have that much going on. You're not wrong. Do you have a job, bro? No, I'm considering it. I'm thinking about it. I would. Sometimes maybe, I don't know how old you are. This is just honest, though. We can talk quiet and be honest. Sometimes life makes it difficult for people to do all of the things that are expected of them. It's just the way our psychologies work. It's the way society works sometimes. And so that's my position right now. That's the position that I'm in, is I would love to do everything that I could conceive that's expected of me, that's responsible. I wish I could explore new ideas online with cool people like all of you, or just wherever I go in my other 22, 21 waking hours. You know, I wish one day I could buy Bob a Starbucks or a tea or a beer or something. But, you know, so I don't have a job right now. Blake, hope you're good. Hope you're having a good drink, good drunk, if you are drunk. You can't afford a Starbucks. Sort of. How do you know? How does one know? I just said I don't have a job. But yeah, can't afford a Starbucks. That would be very bad. It would be very bad and very brutal. Yeah. Why is it? You know, this is something the next generation can solve for millennials like myself. Have honest conversations about money, about where it comes from, where it goes to. And the internet's not healthy for you. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that entirely. Yeah, the internet's. We were talking about AI. I went on my friend Sarah the Raging Tomatoes panel. We're not best of friends, but we're not enemies by any stretch of the imagination. And Sarah's panel was discussing the morality or ethics of AI, artificial intelligence. What do you guys think of artificial intelligence? Is it a good thing? Is it not a good thing? But it's just interesting. The old internet, like the internet I have on my laptop here, and I'll show you this. As long as I don't drop this and break this too. So this is the internet. This is a web page. I'm going to read some stuff to you guys in just a minute here. But this is generally referred to as structured data, which means you know that it's like a spreadsheet. This is how data works. So the internet is AIDS. The internet is, and so when you see structured data, you could basically transcribe an entire website onto a couple Google Sheets or Excel pages. It wouldn't be practical for anything, not very much, but you could do it. And so AI uses what's called both structured and unstructured data. It can take very organized data from a spreadsheet, or you can just dump a bunch of information in, and it'll figure out how to use it to code AI. And so that's just interesting when we think about humans interfacing with a technology. If I give you a spreadsheet and a now organized jumble of words, a swirly circle that just seems to poop out like a magic answer, or produces these, it's not pooping it out, but this is sort of what we mean. So the internet's the structured space, the AI. When people talk about it changing everything, we could take data from the world and theoretically rebuild an AI-driven internet, which is like a one-to-one sort of experience someone could have. Did life give you a bad hand? Yeah, I wouldn't say that. My hands are good. If life gave me a bad hand, what I would think is that, I still have a reason to find optimism and purpose a little bit. What's up, Connor? Football conditioning sucked today. Oh, that's cool. What position do you play on your team? Connor? Connor? Can you tell me what position you play? I'll show you this. Yes, Connor's the varsity quarterback. Set! Hood! Gotta just settle back to here, this position here. We don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this. Don't even listen to me. Don't even listen to me, guys. Matata. I had to play offense and defense because we're short on dudes. Cool. No worries. You're into sports, Duck? Yeah, I wrestled. I don't watch sports. I watch news websites. You guys can see I have the estrogenic man boobs at this stage in my life. I'm 35, so I'm old. American Rugby Mimo. Hey, what's up, Coder? What's up? I'm gimping through a damaged mic. So I'm learning to speak quietly. We're making the most of it. Yeah, all the new shit I bought, which I shouldn't have bought. I researched it a bunch. I waited. I did wait, sort of. But all my stuff broke. Let's see if we can get... see how much this article will show. We've got a news story. So this is from Minnesota in the United States, and this says, in the aftermath of Minnesota shootings, tracking a disturbing rise in political violence. So very complex headline already. This is the two families of lawmakers in Minnesota which were targeted. And this is from Christian Science Monitor, which is typically a fairly objective. It's not faith-based. They do a really good job with very, very sort of standard reporting. A little Western, a little American national interest. So pro-God, pro-Trump, pro-gun, cool. And so I'll read some of this article. It says, 2 weeks after a gunman killed Democratic state lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark at their home, thousands of Minnesotans lined up at the Capitol to pay their respects. Many praised Ms. Hortman, a former House Speaker, and expressed horror that such a brazen act could happen in a state that prides itself on civic engagement and open government. Others, though seemingly grimly unsurprised that a national tide of scorched earth politics and extremism had crashed into Minnesota. We live in a society that demonizes public officials, says Christopher Sheed, a university employee waiting outside in line outside a rotunda. His mother was a state lawmaker, he says, and he has seen the toll on those in public life. And then there is a section, I'll show you guys this, if anybody wants to see this. There's a big yellow block in the middle of the screen. This is in the middle of the story, and this says why we wrote this. So they're telling you, this news outlet is telling you what their motivation or intention was to write what seems like an editorializing piece. Right? I don't know if anyone caught that they're talking about extremism and a rise of violence that's disastrous. They're telling us how we feel about this. They're telling us this is something that's measured in society, and they're also being transparent. So this is often called like an editorial piece. This might be like sort of, it's not that controversial of one because you see political violence and you understand it, but it's still very nice. Yeah, it's very nice. So they wrote this because they say experts warn of an era where normalized violence. Whoops. Um, Experts warn of an era of normalized violence in which politically motivated attacks are appending norms and heightening the risks of public service. It's impacting not only national politicians, but also state and local officials who are increasingly being attacked at their homes. So across the country, a rise in political violence is appending norms of democracy and heightening risks of public service for officials, from presidential candidates to Supreme Court justices, state lawmakers to local politicians. In the weeks just since the June 14th shootings in Minnesota, in which another state lawmaker and his wife were also critically wounded, a Memphis man was charged with attempted kidnapping after police said he scaled a wall to reach the home of Mayor Paul Young, while Ohio Rep. Max Miller said a man ran him off the road and said he wanted to kill him. Earlier this year, a Pennsylvania man was charged with arson and attempted homicide after a nighttime attack on Governor Josh Shapiro's house that forced him and his family to flee. Hey, what up, Pookie? Sarah Rothman Rosh. If you guys are chilling and you want to hit the like button, I appreciate it. I don't know, or not. So we're seeing a statement of material facts in this story. So they're saying that we have an opinion about this. They're telling us why they're writing it, and they're telling us there's lots of examples they can cite from. And so, yeah. So from here, they're comparing it to the 1960s and early 1970s. This was about the time that some global competition started sprouting up after the World War II period in a more serious way. We saw some sort of liberalization and sort of state-led successful efforts. And so who knows? It's really difficult to connect maybe two events there, but they're comparing the climate in the United States without necessarily saying the causes are the same. So they know enough to know that and to say that. But experts say the current wave of political violence is distinct in several ways. While the violence in the 1960s and 1970s was perpetrated mostly by those with left-wing views, today's attacks are more often committed by right-wing extremists or people with incoherent ideological beliefs. So this is a newspaper doing an editorial saying people with incoherent ideological beliefs. And this isn't just national figures, but relatively unknown state and local officials being attacked, often in their homes. We seem to be witnessing a growing phenomenon in which politicians are actually being targeted not at work and not in public places, but in their homes. And I think it's a very concerning development, says Jacob Ware, a research fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations who studies terrorism and extremism. Right, and so that's interesting. Some people might editorialize this itself and say that, well, when people see free speech being rolled back, and this is a fairly conservative, center, middle of the road publication. It's called the Christian Science Monitor. But this is almost like saying we need to have an American answer for this question that I see European politics taking away people's rights. In Europe, you need to get approval to protest or hold a sign in some places. There's certain types of speech and organization which is banned. And a lot of this is because of research they've done on extremism and terrorism. So they're saying, well, this is now, you have the freedom of assembly, absolutely. But if we see someone else using freedom of assembly to take away your rights, then we don't have a problem explaining it. We don't have a problem talking about it publicly. we don't have a problem if it's a pain in the rear end. But we're going to say some people don't have the same exact freedom of assembly and speech in all the same ways. You just have to, we have to make sure you're not doing this sort of far right nationalism thing. You're not doing something you shouldn't. And so why in the US, when we see people encouraging others to have incoherent ideologies, to actually go out and search for problems with the world? That's the real dangerous part, guys. Sorry, clunk, clunk, clunk. That's the real dangerous part. The real dangerous part, as it turns out, I do think, is when politicians and lawmakers and folks, wherever they are looking around, and what they're saying, what they're telling us is, well, it's very easy for me to find these examples of people who, for personal benefit, are more than willing to help other people find their way into potentially dangerous acts. And it's no longer a stretch. These are now events that we are measuring, that we can go see in society. You look like Sean from Bikes and Beards. Insane. What's up? That's cool. I don't know who that is, but I like bikes. I like beards. Am I Jewish? No. Jory14. Hi. Hi to you as well. Yeah, that would be so cool. I like the Bob that we have, but if the Bob that we have in chat sometimes, we're very lucky when he wants to spend a couple minutes with us. If he turned out to be the actual Bob Odenkirk, well, that would be something to marvel at, wouldn't it? If and only if this was Bob Odenkirk, I'd probably just sell my laptop and quit streaming. I would say, Bob the Mod, can you just take me to Hollywood? I don't care. I'll play a degenerate. I'll play a junkie. I'll play any role you want, and I won't even think if I'm comfortable playing the role as it was written. And we will just, let's go. We're gonna party. Would I ever shave my beard? I don't want to be completely honest. What do I like about my beard? I like my beard because it's low effort. I like my beard because, when your beard gets a certain length, it's not even disorganized. It's not even that disorganized. So, play Superman. Aw. Yeah, does anyone have a savior complex in chat? Does anyone wish they had a superpower? What would my superpower would be to be able to more quickly read news stories like this one that we're reading. This is the other thing they say about political violence in the US. They're saying the public response is also different. While previous periods of political violence sparked widespread shock and outrage, it's often led to reforms that the reaction today seems more muted. So people aren't talking about these egregious acts of political violence against public figures. We even have people coming in our own chat. I appreciate them being here. I appreciate them feeling they can speak freely, who say, "Free Luigi Mangione." Right? Not in a way that we should judge Luigi, but god damn. Mine is very simple: to absorb other powers. And that's what wins, Danielle Alejandra Lee. That is what wins then. Yes, that is how you win. Ducks, have I ever watched the movie Nobody? Yeah, that was very good. That was a very cool movie. Mucho Pan says, it looks very good, G. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. That's actually nice to hear. I'm closing my laptop now. Let's do this old school. Oops. Putting my mic down. Clunk. Clunk again. Clunk again, folks. We got a clunk. If you guys want to hit like and subscribe, I gotta be a little quiet, so or I don't care if you guys subscribe. If you guys want to like or want to talk about something, let me know. Political violence, yeah. European nations are a lot smaller than the United States. The United States has 50 full states. 350 million people over a very big area. It's a little less homogenous than some people imagine. You have local politics, local industries. So this shapes sort of those economic views that we all have. And so, it's always interesting because it seems that Europe has some sort of institutional or bureaucratic response when there's a really tragic event, at least in the political space, right? So we can just talk about that, right? We're free to talk about stuff like that. And so, one of the things the authors of that article maybe could have called out, and I didn't keep reading, but they could have called out that, yeah, people have different opinions about this stuff. Which is the most responsible cause of increasing violence in the USA? Arrogance or illegal migrants or drugs or uncontrolled weapons or drugs or increasing the cost of life? Hey, Sunil, Krishna. Yeah. I think one of the things is that the pace of American life is always very constant and steady. The pace is always very steady. And so because of this, my impression is that there's very large sweeping political climates. And so, if I were to look at like a political center or like a national center like Los Angeles or New York, one thing that's different is, yeah, you might have like a New York issue or a Los Angeles issue, but it seems totally siloed from the rest of the country. And so, one thing is that, the political violence, if you just have the climate of political violence and you say, well, that's already a mature understanding of the issue, then it's also true that then it would also, it would just be true that, you're not going to have one motivational person that comes out and is able to speak to everyone or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how that would be. Let's see. Whoops. Slide. Sorry. What's it called when politicians create violent systems against the people? Yeah, that would be a fascist system. That would be fascism. I think. I don't know. Authoritarian. I think more typically, yeah, who knows? Yeah, whatever word or part of that you want. Do you think the USA is truly sovereign? No, that's called tyranny. Okay. Yeah. No, that's an interesting, that's a good conversation. Sunil says, I'm a high school teacher. I study cultures, economies, and political affairs of country. That's really sad to learn that with technological advancements, we the humans are becoming inhuman. Yeah. Acting, I would say there's simple truths that at some point in times humans accepted these simple truths just as given facts. People would accept that there's still social organization, and the reason this is because, well, what else are humans going to do? This is human nature, is a little bit. Yeah, when people are attempting to affect change, and they don't see that as operating within their individual control, but rather it's like a populist force. It's that of the group. It comes out as this sort of conspiracy theory ranting. Donald Trump says that all Democrats are this or that, and people repeat it. They believe it. The alternative is that, well, all Democrats are All Democrats are just normal people like you and I. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy, folks. I'm sorry if this mic is a little rough. A little rough, folks. It shouldn't be that rough, though. I'm sorry. Get the whip. Say it with your chest, folks. Say everything with your chest. Say it with, my daddy was a buzzsaw. I'll say something with my chest. My daddy was a buzzsaw, folks. Grr. Left my daddy in Tennessee. Didn't love mama and he didn't love me. Packed my ass in a moving van. Didn't stop driving till Michigan. Sound 2, I miss my mama. Sound 3, stolen valor. Hey, what's up from Philadelphia? I used to work at a company in Malvern, Pennsylvania. Tiny company, if you know Vanguard. Tommy Benson, good to see you. Keanu, sleep. I'll be right there. Yeah, lack of responsibility from Daniela Alejandra Lee. I think so. I think it would be, I don't know if it's YouTube etiquette, but I was going to ask you if you know of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because it sounds like you have a Latinx name. I love AOC. I love AOC. Yeah, but Daniela's talking about responsibility a little bit. Is the way I'm reading it, is that there's not really a short-term win. Is if I was a politician and I was going to offer a political response, something I can do, I think is, I would say, well, like, okay, so look at it this way. Is that if we are, as a society, celebrating short-term events which get us from day to day, but don't actually produce any change that anyone finds desirable, we're not doing politics. We are running an amusement park, running a theme show called America. And the challenging part is that when you turn the lights back on and politicians say, well, it's finally time, the people finally admit there's things we should talk about, there's a productive conversation we can have together, we can address the challenges within US politics. Well, you still have to clean up after this. You've left people thinking that they're incoherent ideologies and beliefs, and these strange, subtle ideas of lack of responsibility. Well, let's just get these things back in the right place, right? There's no victims, there's no winner, there's no loser. If you're gonna keep acting like it, just tell me when you're done. No. Tommy, no. Much love from India. Yo, what's up? What's up? There is an old American beer commercial where these people go up to each other and they go, what's up? It's very famous, but yeah, much love from India. Much love from Phoenix, Arizona in the Southwest US. It's good to see you. It's going well. You're Venezuelan and Filipino. Oh, cool. Well, peace. Yeah, cool. Yeah, very cool. I honestly know so little about Venezuela. The only thing I read was that there was a Venezuelan-Russian energy project, and it ended up taking way longer to produce revenue than people imagined. So I don't know. Hey, John Beard, why don't you? John Beard, good to see you, but take a minute, please. Thank you. At least. Yeah, if you harass a guest, if anyone harasses guests, next time someone does that, I'll just kick you off the stream for at least a day. At least a day. Ride my hairy Chinese meat hard, says Dissonance. Hey Dissonance, good to see you. Thanks for the nice message. Hey Dissonance again. Hey Dissonance again. Yeah, good to see you, Dissonance. I always appreciate that kind of trolling. All right. Bye. You're asking who is the hypothetical owner of a hypothetical company, bankers, all this stuff. Posh, guys. Posh. This is a very funny little book. I don't know if anyone wants to listen to a couple paragraphs or a paragraph or something. This is a collection of essays about Thomas Hobbes and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. So this is interesting. This is just one way to think about ideas that maybe span longer time periods. So Thomas Hobbes at the top, he wrote in the 17th century. So this is Commonwealth England. It's not that much longer after the Magna Carta. Magna Carta, really not all that much changed. Wasn't that different. And then Jean-Jacques Rousseau was during the industrial period in France, early industrialization, fairly early still industrialization. It didn't finish yet. And so you have people just starting to get their first sort of grasp of property and capitalism and markets. And then you have markets already maturing, already consolidating. And so over a long period of time, people have tried to compare these thinkers because their ideas are a little bit different. Yeah. Leo Strauss is one of the famous people. He's a very famous academic. His name is Leo Strauss. Most of you, if you go to college, either in the US or elsewhere, at some point you'll read Leo Strauss. But it probably wouldn't be until maybe you'll read a handout or something. You'll have one chapter on the guy, but you guys want to sample a short sample. All right, this is a short sample. You guys yell at me in chat, guys, too, by the way, or yeah, whatever. So if you guys want to like the video, like or subscribe, this helps a ton. But I'm just going to read this stupid book. I think it helps. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Pimp on a Blimp. Alex Stein. Yeah. Yeah. Alex Stein debates while he's driving in his car. So anyways, the antiquarian controversy about the intention of Rousseau conceals a political controversy about the nature of democracy. So that's already a dense sentence. If we can get, we already lost like 5 people to that. The antiquarian controversy about the intention of Rousseau conceals a political controversy about the nature of democracy. Modern democracy might seem to stand or fall by the claim the method of democracy and the method of intelligence are identical. So this is basically saying, this is like academic sort of speak for saying, and they might mean more by this, but they're saying that look, if I use my sense of reason, my way I relate to the world is by reasoning through things, and understanding maybe different choices and my own value preferences, but I can turn my own values into something that I can reason about. I'd hope, right? I'd hope that story can be a little more confident. And so for people who say that democracy is based on man is inherently capable of reason, human nature is such that it's reasonable, then I can say, well, the method of intelligence, the way we decide things, and the method of democracy, the way we decide things, these both go into the same sort of bucket. This is the same way that we solve a problem, the same way that we understand the world. Dry Plays says $35. I wish I had $35. If I had $35 in disposable income, I would Cash App it back and forth to myself until the fees made it 0, just because that's how rarely I get money coming in. If you guys check the description, there probably is no Cash App link. There is none. It's not true who thinks it's actually the vampires get real. Yeah, I've seen that there's some like libertarian and Hindu-vada, like there's also some more foundational national views coming from a country like India, just like in the US as well. I don't know what that stuff means, but vegans, Daniela, there's only one answer. Thank you. Hey, what's up, Tamerlin? Hi. Hope you're doing well. For the sake of a hot chick and a puppy. Yeah. Yeah, if life was that simple. Yeah. So this whole essay that we're looking at is ultimately about it's a very complicated read, by the way. There's lots of different like semantic and grammatical tools they're using, but you may not need to know all of that, or you can do it yourself, but you don't need Leo Strauss to tell you exactly how to read Leo Strauss. Be a little artful, a little bit artful. Yeah, Rousseau's one of the thinkers who had some ideas about science and morality. This was a big discussion even between major democratic theorists like Rousseau, because people would argue at the time that, well, industrialization and wealth isn't making the world more peaceful. We even see in the early 19th century, so in the 1800s and late 1700s, we see the world in the West is becoming violent. It's becoming violent and repressive. And so the quote he offers very briefly is to say, to blame the sciences and praise ignorance. To blame the sciences and to praise ignorance. Praise ignorance. So, in the interest of morality. Yeah. Morality is irrelevant. Yes. If you're a Rousseau scholar, that would be very cool. He's talking about whether or not Socrates is relevant. Yeah, he concludes by saying Rousseau attacks the Enlightenment as a pillar of despotism and absolute monarchy. A pillar of despotism and absolute monarchy. He's irrelevant. Yeah, we all have to get to work. Efficiency, then. Yeah. Yeah, so it goes. So it goes. Yeah, Robert, one thing I hope you get to experience and I mean this in a friendly way, in a kind way. I hope both of those things, is that, yeah, if you focus on work efficiency, precision, and intelligence, um, you might have a really miserable go at it for a year or two. But you'll get one day where you realize that your productivity at least has made you right. Might not make you effective or efficient, but it makes you right. And so this is just to challenge your claim that our decision has to spout around efficiency. A decision or a choice can apparently, in my view, be about more than just that. Yeah, mentally and spiritually. Yeah. That's very cool. That's very cool. Um, yeah, if anyone has anything to say to Daniela's comment, she says, wealthy people also need a lot of help, maybe not financially, but mentally, and also spiritually as well. Yeah. So that's one of those hard points to get, is that, yeah, maybe you have power and you're capable of achieving and doing more than you're currently doing today. It also might be the case that, um, being motivated, being able to still choose the right things and for the right reasons. So right things and right reasons. Um, uh, but yeah, it's cool. I've always struggled with consistency and goal attainment. I've always been really effective when I understand my sort of work or operating environment. But yeah, and to me, it's like, well, if we're not inherently or intrinsically working in a moral environment, if this isn't a meta-ethical exploration, right, we're actually impacting people in the world, I can understand one goal at a time. And this isn't like being in the army. This is like working at a tech company or something. Maybe I make more money than my neighbor. That's really weird to me. That's a little weird to me. Maybe I make more than my neighbor, and it's also the case that I don't know what I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do with it once I make more money. Yeah. And so that's a consistent challenge too in the West, is when we say terms like work-life balance. Do you guys understand that term, work-life balance? Where you have a job that you're supposed to pursue 100%. And it just naturally ends up being the case that while you're pursuing your job 100%, you're also finding balance in your life. And so you keep performing that job 100%. And over time, it gets better or worse or whatever it is. And that's the ideal society in the Western perspective. Just from the US perspective, we find that ideal society. Yeah. Yeah, Hugh, I would recommend you reading Into Justice. Maybe what I think you would find is, I think you would find some thinkers have the right sort of attitude, some people have the right perspective, some people have the right idea, and some people have the right frame of reference again or something. I always had a soft spot for thinkers like Hobbes and Rousseau. And while they are philosophers, it's because they talk about justice. Rousseau's famous line is his opening line that's very famous is man is born free and yet everywhere is in chains. Can you imagine what someone would have to think or be like to see people suffering or unhappy in a society and they say, okay, I want to understand this and I'm going to write about it. And I'm just going to write about it. So there's this book that talks about it. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. Hey, what's up, Mo? Good luck, bro. I take it you're in the United States, or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, that's pretty brutal. Is that an East Coast thing? I don't know. What's up, though? Hey, Whitebeard, free Palestine. Yeah, if you guys, there's been bad news or news the last couple days about a possible ceasefire or peace treaty between the two states, regarding governance and demands that Israel's apparently going to keep making. And so all these things, right? Yeah. When Rousseau talks about freedom, he sort of talks about that giant bucket that we'd have to be able to see into a society. It's the feel to it, it's our ability to be ourselves, and then it's our ability to be ourselves to also apply it to choice. He doesn't do this and then as much, With Thomas Hobbes, he's very punctuated. It's the state of nature is this way. This is what nature is like. And then you get to a society and this is what you do. John Locke says something about natural religion in society. John Locke says, well, you have these moral values, these normative values coming from just humans as innately having this free will and this ability to rationally discuss things. And so you have God and because of God, this and then. And Rousseau is much more fluid. He just says, look, we step into a society with ourselves. Rousseau says, what Rousseau says to this idea is that we always make judgments about our freedom and what choices we're able to make, who we can make those choices for, who we can chase them with. What's the worst, the most damaging thing a person could say? This is how we're reasonable, is we get it already. We get it from the get-go. We get it from the start. And so for Rousseau, he almost has this idealized version of what society is like. He has this almost idealized, meaning an immaterial version of what society is like, while he has a very material view of what a person is like. You might explore nature to find God, but that's not, you're a social or a natural person. You're kinetic. You're very kinetic, as it turns out. You're kinetic. And so 10 milli. I like to do everything in balance, but I still screw up. Even sometimes I'm aware of it. I just let it slide, which is why I don't like planning. Yep. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I'm always very keenly aware of the principle of small moves big, big moves small. Yep. An elephant can kick a peanut, and a peanut can kick an elephant right back. An elephant can kick a peanut right back. So for me, planning is always realizing I can misestimate how much time or effort or energy something does take and it can take and all this other crap. I just started reading Anarchy, State, and Utopia. Have you read it? I don't think so. I think in a contemporary political theory class I read portions of it. Yeah. I've thought before I have thought about anarcho positions, and kind of what it says about human rationality, human choice, whether you want to make it utilitarian or deontological. I really dislike like a lot of times I dislike deontological views, of human nature and norms on the social level. Yeah, if you want to say anything about Robert Nozick, though, that would be cool. That would be cool. I would pull him up right now. I can pull up a couple quotes. The one interesting thing from one of the really interesting thought experiments is in Anarchy, State, and Utopia, a very famous argument. Nozick posits something called a utility monster. And it's like, okay, so picture that instead of having all humans on Earth arguing, squabbling, deciding, competing, thinking, and then deciding about the crap they're going to do in society and competing for a, like utility. You just had some monster that took all of the utility away. I forgot how this one ends, but let's see. Yeah, it's on Wikipedia right here. And yeah, Nozick says utilitarian theory is embarrassed by the possibility of utility monsters who get enormously greater sums of utility from any sacrifice of others than those who lose. The theory seems to require that we be sacrificed to the monster's law in order to increase utility. And this was a damning blow to Rawls. In some sense, Rawls says that, there's these deontological principles of justice, but in actual practice, humans are these utilitarian deciding things. That's how you get to society. And so, it's a little fine-grained. I didn't understand this kind of stuff when I was in college. I considered myself pretty smart, but I don't actually totally remember. I'm not that smart, but I'm not, And so, Nozick says that humans don't use game theory. Humans don't use calculus. Humans don't use this axiomatic thinking in the same sense that you do about stuff in a society. It's, I don't know. I think it's sort of like that. Yeah, maybe it's a little more specific. Sorry if one of you guys are actually smart. Huge ass. I fucking hated Foucault. That was the first Discord I got kicked out of. I joined a Discord to do a Foucault reading group, and I forgot why, but I got kicked out of it. Was that just a game theory? Was that just a game theory? Is that just a game theory? Oops. I don't know. Yeah. intellectuals are starving artists or as operational leaders. The American tradition of science and artists has always been very purpose-oriented. It's how people describe it. And this was William Saunders Peirce, John Dewey, William James, early 20th century American philosophers. William James, John Dewey lived until 1952. So just the banana for scale. He was talking about education reform, philosophy, this sort of pragmatic view of philosophy as a life guidance system. So that sort of philosophy idea was also very prevalent in Latin American political thought. It's also very prevalent in Latin American political thought as well. There is always this sort of talk that if people start believing in education and institutions, if they start believing in the lessons they produce, this education component, then those things get better, right? You feed back the scientific lessons, the philosophical lessons into the institutions, and those get better. Someone a little bit, I would pick someone respectful for sure. I would pick someone respectful for sure. Yeah. Someone that respects. What is your religion? My religion is that of the troll. On tonight's stream, my religion is trolling. We're talking about John Rawls, Robert Nozick, John Dewey, all those people. What if the institutions were corrupted? I don't know. Corrupt institutions? L'chaim, though, and if you're in Israel, peace to you from the United States. According to the study of Putnam and also Descartes, taking into account the cavern of Platon, do you believe that we live in a simulation? That was Robert Putnam, not Hillary Putnam, right? No. Hillary Putnam. Robert Putnam is my other Putnam. I can talk to you about Robert Putnam, but Hillary Putnam I have to Google. Where's the TL don't read on this guy? Multiple realizability, an illustration of multiple realizability. M stands for mental and P stands for physical. It can be seen that more than one P can instantiate one M, but not vice versa. Causal relations between states are represented by the arrows. M1 goes to M2, so on and so forth. Oh, okay. Pain may correspond to utterly different. This isn't like a book, but pain may correspond to utterly different physical states of the nervous system in different organisms, even though they all experience the same mental state of being in pain. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So I would disagree. I would disagree. Whoever just asked that. That was Ma-DD. Yeah, I think that's putting a lot of epistemic burden on qualia. I don't know if that's right. But the reason that is almost on it from a metaphilosophical perspective or whatever it is. One of my friends gave me a close friend, a good friend, gave me a book called Philosophy Without Intuitions. And so if I'm using intuition as evidence, I think this this causal change just seems really complicated to try and prove some realist version of reality, as well as entailments from however that works, from all of this crap. Yeah. So I don't think we live in a simulation, in the sense that if we're signifying qualia about a self and knowledge, and we're signifying this is about a simulation, and that's what our knowledge is about a simulation. I think you can even grant that there's multiple physical states that you could have knowledge of in multiple worlds, but I don't think that self necessarily has, like, I might be too mystic, but this might be too mystic, but I don't think any of those worlds or knowledges has to do about reality like we mean necessarily. It just has to do with knowledge and epistemic burdens. But that's probably my bias a little bit. Yeah, but that book, if you guys are interested in meta philosophy, you can look up, what's his name? This guy's in China right now. I think he's in Hong Kong. He's in Hong Kong or Beijing, if I remember correctly. He's doing work. His name is Herman Capellan. I think he's an Irish philosopher. I don't remember, but yo, Numpty, my boy, what's up? Brain in a jar. Oh, Brain in a jar, Putnam. Brain in a jar, Putnam. Yeah. So with the Brain in a jar, yeah, it would at least seem to argue that you would have equal knowledge about, or that there's not an essential trait that makes something not a simulation. So if I had to ask a question back to that, there is a very understandable system within the brain in a vat and simulation theory, which says that, okay, similar to how a equation in physics, when it's in a physicist's brains, knows about the limitations and uses of this equation, it knows about the system, and it could reason and come up with opinions about what's outside of that system. The mechanism of that brain would also know that thing. It would also know that thing. Okay. So it's weird, because it seems very ungratifying to say, well, that missing knowledge is just a no thing or a lack. That doesn't even sound intuitive in philosophy. It doesn't sound like, well, there's an emptiness in our knowledge faculty. But what you can say is that our knowledge faculty is sufficient as both knowledge about a simulated and an actual reality. You know about the same things. And maybe your ontology necessarily gives a better probability or whatever. Not even like a Bayesian probability, but like the actual explanations of the mechanisms itself, right, as its own type of knowledge, or this own type of like total Bayesian equation about what that little mechanism does or something. Like, yeah, but it's, very simply, like, does a particle system or a single bit of information know that it has emptiness, or that it's approaching that? Does it know that it becomes one day this thing? It evolves into this state, or it evolves into a possible description that involves emptiness or nothing. And so, yeah, it's interesting. Who knows? Why is it more? So that's my final answer. If I was writing like if I was trying to write a peer-reviewed paper or something right now, not that I could, right? I wouldn't have citations, but my argument for the brain in the vat and Putnam would be, well, wouldn't it be the case that, you actually have a third possibility and there's no reductio ad absurdum? You just reach the point where you could be a simulation, you could have knowledge of the actual world, the reality, and you could also have knowledge in one or any of those of emptiness, of a lack or an insufficiency. And so that would be cool. That's what I would do, is I would explore the necessary entailments and connections between insufficiency for complete material descriptions while staying coherent and producing this no thing or lack or something. An emptiness, Buddhist nothing, whatever. That's what I would do. The Matrix was inspired by Putnam studies. You guys are way too smart. Guys, slow down in chat. If you guys have to, look around your room, look left, right, kind of lean a little bit, let some of your tension out of your body. If people are getting in fights, and take a little breath, allow your body to sort of curate that energy for some specific task if you need to. And yeah, and also the other thing is I would just encourage people the space to be wrong about something, and encourage people to embrace that the reality is that you're not going to produce anything other than what you're already producing, because you're just on DuxY, the leading YouTube channel for people with to watch people with purple shirts and beards. So what do we do? What do we do about it? I think there's a fascinating knowledge claim about Putnam, though. Maybe it's not about Putnam, but the brain in the jar, brain in the vat thought experiment. How could this be coherent? Yeah, so there's not really a description of the universe where you have a bit or a quanta, or a fundamental object, or whatever it is that can't have possible knowledge or can't possibly have any sort of relationship to other things. And that's sort of like a base building block of a simulation in the first place. And so what can those things go out and do? Well, and that's always interesting, right? This is why physics is so fascinating. I don't know if any of you guys like physics. Let me know in the comments section if you know it or whatever. And so one of these things that these things can go do, okay, one of these things that they can go out and get is that, well, if it's conceivable that we actually have possible worlds in our universe, right? There's a many world sort of wave in, there's a wave function interpretation of the universe. And so when we're talking about a relational characteristic that's sort of within and between states, well, if the universe is simulated, it's difficult to create okay, so here's a challenge. Create a philosophical argument that shows relationships between relational states of the universe. Okay? Does that make sense? Does that make any sense? And so creating an expression, really one of those weird things, right? Why are you gay? Hey, what's up, Mo? What's up, Mo? Yeah, what's up? Yeah, and that's one of those fascinating things because if we try and expand just this one ontological notion of a relationship between objects, just one of those ontological relationships between objects, um, um, you almost see that it is sort of subservient to either do this without like an observation or measurement, or to imagine that observations and measurements aren't qualitative, and this is fucking fire, right? Aren't qualitative in any sort of modal world system. So I hope you understand what that means, that if I can have objective states and no states as a sort of as a particle, or I'm a person and this is what I want to describe a particle of, I want to be able to produce knowledge of something like this. But all I'm describing is the relationship. That's what the knowledge is about, is that you have a either a discrete, either finite or continuous sort of system, and that's the thing that creates these relationships that are entailed by themselves. And so it's a weird idea because you're not really, by doing that, you're not really producing knowledge about a system or an object, whichever one, but like what you're actually producing knowledge of is cosmological knowledge pertaining to reality. So that's an important term, maybe, like cosmological term, a cosmology pertaining to reality, meaning that we're specifically mandating that an equation isn't just staying on the page, but the reason it's operating out in the universe is because what it's doing is operating out in the universe to some extent. And so this could conceivably provide, when we say many worlds is sort of like this black box, it sounds very crass to say it comes from a system and so cool. Even if that is consistent, sort of producing good results and things like this, it could also just be the case that, well, what belies this is something completely different or something. Hey, what up, Puck? What up, Puck Daddy? Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah. There's a song by an American artist, Daniela, called Jack Johnson, called Sitting, Waiting, Wishing. The name of the song is Sitting, Waiting, Wishing by Jack Johnson. Yeah. So, as someone who's like an atheist, that, I believe that intention is a very powerful, sensible sort of human force. It fuels the oil industry. Yeah, so I wrestled. Kind of crazy. I don't know if you guys know this about wrestling, but the U.S. has had a good wrestling team. Some famous like professional wrestlers, like Kurt Angle, those guys were wrestlers. Those guys were certainly wrestlers. You know this. Yeah. So. 'Cause I'm just me and you are you. I don't know how it goes. Must I always be waiting, waiting on you? Let's see. Well, I was sitting, waiting, wishing you maybe believed in superstitions, and maybe you'd see the signs. But Lord knows that this world is cruel, and I ain't the Lord, no, I'm just a fool. Learning loving somebody don't make them love you. I can't sing this one. Must I always be waiting, waiting on you? Must I always be playing, playing your fool? I sang your songs, I danced your dance, I gave your friends all a chance, but putting up with them wasn't worth never having you. I don't know that one. Yeah. Tommy Benson, nah. Nah, dude. Google caught most of those messages, bro. Don't worry, but good to see you, Tommy Benson, still. I keep playing your part, but it's not my scene. Want this plot to twist, I've had enough mystery. It's not my song at all. Not my song at all. Must I always be waiting, waiting on you? Must I always be playing, playing your fool? Can't you see that it's just raining? There ain't no need to go outside. No, I can't sing other people's songs. I can't sing my own songs. I don't have songs. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you for asking. Good morning to you too. Good night. Bye. You can do a little karaoke session or something. It starts in my nose, toes, makes me wiggle my nose, but always know, 'cause you make me smile now, stay for a while now, or just take your time, wherever, wherever, wherever you go. You guys know Colby Collet? Thank you, Robert Sex John. That's the kind of comment I like to see on Ducks Fly. I love seeing that stuff on my channel. Whoops. You know, one reason I don't like complaining is someone who is like a pseudo-academic, someone who's self-taught but likes thinking about stuff. I don't care what anyone else thinks, not really. I just care that I like it. If I like it after, and that's dishonest, if I like it after months of thinking about it and arguing about it and hearing different perspectives about it and trying to apply it in my own life, an idea, then I like it. Then boy do I like it. I love that stuff. I live for it. But I don't like complaining, because what happens when you complain? Your brain and body finds a solution. Are you happy you complained? Well, are you happy with the solution that I found for you? Were you not happy just sitting and waiting and wishing, like Jack Johnson says? Well, I was sitting, waiting, wishing that you believed in superstition. Then maybe you'd see the signs. But Lord knows that this world is cruel, and I ain't the Lord. No, I'm just a fool. Learn loving somebody don't make them love you. Must I always be waiting, waiting on you. Well, I was sitting. That's almost like a Spanish Mixolydian or something. There's almost like this really weird, either a flat two or something, whatever it is, whatever key it's in, or else, whatever it is, a Lydian mode, or how else can you do that? Yeah, it's very weird. And maybe you've been through this before, but it's my first time, so please ignore the next few lines, because they're directed at you. Must I always be waiting on you? Now I just want to sing, guys. Welcome to Ducks Y. We have 3 people watching, and I'm just going to look up songs and sing the rest of the stream. Any recommendations? Any recommendations or requests? Hey, what's up, Angel Solis? Good to see you. Birmingham University from Sarvesh Kumar. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Last Friday night, yeah, we danced on tabletops. Yeah, we took too many shots. But I forgot this Friday night. Do it all again. Do it all again. Do it all again. It's almost like this, what do you call it? This Friday night, do it all again. This learning process. This learning being process, which is unsignified. Stop singing, says Lasertag. Yes, I have free speech. I can sing when I want. The new number from Ye is quite the quaint little number. It's quite the ditty, Jebediah, yes. I would like to hear this Ye sometime. Do you guys know how to say Tony Yayo from the 308 dropping bricks, baggies, and stacks in La España, Ruski? What about in Hebrew, Yiddish? Tony Yayo from the 308 dropping bricks, stacks, and petunia, patati, sandwiches, all the way down to drain. This boy thugs out until the bug's out. Okay. Barbaridad. No sé, Daniela. Lo siento, soy un cabrón grande. Pendejo. No sé. Daniela, yo quiero be muy guapo. I want to be very handsome, pero la cartera es cero. I have no money. What would you recommend? I don't know. I know there's absolutely nothing there, but between us, because we're in different countries, I think we're a different gender. Between us, lo siento. I don't know. James Reacher says, go to work. Go to work. Go to sleep. If you want to be magnanimous, you better not make somebody cadaverous. Because that's what Kanye West told us. It's disastrous. Rewind the Triceratops. Pair it with the ops. Hope that nobody called the cops. That's why you shoot out the street lights. They're now tuned for blop, blop, blops. Automatopoeias. Putting homeboy in the 8 block. What's up? What's up, kid? Whoa, James Reacher, you ain't got that N card. You ain't got that embalm card. No offense. Claro que sí, of course. Muy guapo. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Muy personable. You're very personable. Well, you look broke. Hey, laser tag, good to see you. Cut the beard. No worries. Está bien. It's good. It's good. It's good. Well, I am the lighthouse, worn by the weather and the sea, and I keep my lamp lit. So this is a great American if you guys want to just a link to a very, it's not a very famous American song, but you know, this guy, the guy that sings and plays the mandolin in this, is a very renowned American musician. This was sort of a pop song, but I'll put this in chat in case anyone wants a really good, very nuanced tune. You're a sweet is Tennessee whiskey. You're a strawberry wine. I don't know that song. Yeah, there's something on the windshield, and I can't fucking see. Besides, no one volunteered to drive me. Yeah, what about emo music? And tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. Don't make me change my mind. I will da 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 da. I swear it's true. 'Cause a girl like you is impossible to find. You're impossible to find. Have you seen a head shrinker? Yes, bro. Many a times. Dashboard confessional? Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, bro. That's the jam right there, folks. That's the family jam. And I got your picture, 'cause I'm coming with you. Dear Maria, count me in. There's a story at the bottom of this bottle, and you're the pen. Really bad, right? Mike is just going nuts, probably. No, you can't look something when you're turning it out. This is why you guys don't vape. If anyone used to be able to sing, you totally go down to the bottom of the barrel. It's horrible. It's so horrible, folks. I hate it. I hate it, and I don't like complaining, and yet I hate it, folks. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate you. Dog. Mad Gun. I thought that was going to say Mad Dog. I don't even need my mic freaking out to Mad Dog, though, Ian. Mad Dog. What's up? What kind of man do you want me to be? You want me to be nasty? Do you want to see what nasty and mean really looks like? I don't think you do. Because you don't see it. As it turns out, I've been this way. I have been this way. What's good? Yeah. Yeah. All right. To me, singing is a therapeutic thing to me. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? That's funny. Balance, balance, that's a crazy thing. Balance is a crazy thing for sure. Balance is one of those crazy things, folks. Yes, it is. All right. What do you guys think about balance? What do you guys got working on inside? Do you guys think physicists can be badasses? Philosophers? I don't know. You can be in Sons of Anarchy? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let me leave everything behind and move to LA. Find some motherfucker who's got a camera out here. What do you think? Hit up bro again. Say, what's up? How are you? I hope you're doing well, actually, as it turns out. Just say, I want to produce something with you. I want to make a film. What can we do together? How do we make that happen? How do we get that done? How do we go on that journey to find self-confidence together, to find optimism, to find this in a new space that just opens conversations to create possibilities? What do we do to put that stuff together? How do we accomplish that? How do we push ourselves along to be the moral actors, the effective actors, and happy selves, happy beings that are capable of affecting the kind of change we want just by our presence? We can be leaders. We can be understanders. You know? We can be agents of the world. Can we? How do we find the questions and challenges that are worth thinking about together? How do we find our place to untangle challenges that the past gives to us? It sounds like a cult leader when someone demands you do this or demands you do this in a certain way. It sounds like it is a person who thrives on simplicity and thrives on a relationship of power versus autonomy and sovereignty. And so that's why we find the motherfucker that's got a rig and a gear, equipment, all this shit. We say, bro, I want to make a movie with you, dude. I want to make a movie with bro. As it turns out, Kathleen 168, what's up? What's good? Good to see you. What time is it? Nobody knows. Nobody knows, motherfucker. 132. 132. We don't say bad words on the stream usually. Hey to you as well. Hey back. Fartha Bucka says Angel Solus. What's up? If you guys want to have profanity minute, we can have 1 minute of profanity. Yeah, you are 3 hours ahead of me. Kathleen, you are somewhere in what I would imagine is the East Coast time zone, because I don't imagine you're chilling in the Atlantic Ocean right now. Oh, that's cool. I loved Walking Dead. Yeah, I loved Walking Dead. What else did I like? Yeah. So Walking Dead was, if you guys don't know, if you guys aren't based in the US or something like this, whatever, Walking Dead was a television show that was on the channel AMC. So very famous Hollywood production. And what this production does and did was, it tells this story of this like almost anarchist sort of future and stuff. Very strong male leadership leads who sort of refer back in this deconstructed society to how people relate to each other, sort of, who owns violence in this type of society, what that's actually like. And yeah, so very, very, it's very cool. Yeah, cool show for sure. That's The Explainer. I have not. I have not. Yeah, Tanner, everybody's life changes. This is what rock bottom looks like to me. Now, I'm healthy and vegan right now. I don't have very much money. I don't have a source of income. So it depends how you personally define it and what you find valuable. But yeah, I don't encourage on the internet people to share stuff, but if anyone has questions, comments, or situation, scenario, they want to bounce ideas around about something, always open to talk. And yeah, and that's it. I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like that. 35 years old, so I think anyone who's 35 has had some life experiences and all that kind of stuff. I think. I don't know. I got no idea. I don't know. Okay. Well, you know more than I do, my friend. I don't even have anything to say back to that. If I had any advice from my 35-year-old life, what I would say is find the opportunity to do the harder thing. Even if you think about what the harder thing looks like and can be, even if you don't go actually do it, complete it, experience it, learn from it, all of this other stuff, that still builds more resilience than the other options, the other option that there is, the other options that you have. Yeah. You know, the best advice is that, just because you have an 8-inch cock doesn't mean you need to go do porn. You don't need to be a porn star. So that's what I would say. Just so you're comfortable. I'm gonna buy an 8-inch Mike Roberts sex, John. Damn, he says. The boy says, damn. That's the fucking homie right there. Robert Sex John. Chilling. Real homies talk philosophy and all that shit. I'm not saying the homies all have to be into philosophy and stuff like that, but I'm not saying I tell you what a homie is, but whatever. Danielle says, I know a couple porn stars actually. One now because she got married. Wow. Well, congrats and good for her. Yeah, good for her. I believe that we're all lifelong learners and everyone has something to teach others about their experiences, good or bad. Yeah, that's cool. That's neat. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. Yeah, Tanner sounds like a wise person. But yeah, to Danielle's comment, yeah, that's one reason why, there's lots of reasons, but don't judge people. I didn't like the red pill sort of phase of the internet that much. Yeah, and that's it. So yeah, but one of those, yeah. It's interesting because when we think about resilience or these other sort of traits and characteristics that play themselves out, one interesting idea is that, even consultants at McKinsey and some of these global consulting firms, global manufacturers of either computing equipment or high-tech equipment, medical, all this kind of stuff, those whatever it is, those even those people have to have resilience. They have to manage their own versions of rock bottoms. You look like a Greek god. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate you quite a bit. for saying that. The aesthetic, bro. I'll show you. I show everyone these. These are my hot girl headphones. I call these hot girl headphones on the late night stream because they're tan. Just to demystify, there's a stretchy bicep and some sweat. Stretchy bicep and a little bit of sweat, folks. So pretty. Yeah, I'm fucking beautiful. I'm very beautiful. Intelligence is the missing piece. I've got all the looks in the world. I don't have anything going on between these 2 years. My temples are exhausted all the time. They never want to do anything. Nothing is good enough. My life is a complete failure. My life is a complete failure. I feel like I was born a mechanic trapped in an engineer body. All right, Mirren. I see that and I respect you for it, whatever it means. Just because. Just because. Try not to entangle yourself in your own echo chamber. That's how people go insane. Yeah. And just read comments in a Kermit voice to make sure you're not in an echo chamber. See you, Kathleen. Thanks for joining. Be sure to eat something. I most certainly will. We hungry. I judge people, but in a certain degree, I don't judge their physical appearance and their past. Only how they interact, but in a positive way. Yes. 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 A healthy dose of optimism. Optimism and pessimism. Would you guys consider yourself more optimistic or pessimistic? Which one? Which one? Miran Simon sending a word of encouragement saying, I'm pretty sure you have succeeded something at a point in your life. Yeah. I've been successful with a lot of goals or endeavors. Been very lucky. Yeah. Hey, Tommy again. Pessimistic, obviously. Hey, respect to you. I see that. The past is pretty important. Yeah. It is. It definitely is. Yeah. If you're healthy both physically and mentally, this sounds like wisdom or support, guys. This is wisdom or support, honestly. If you are healthy both physically and mentally, you are one of the richest people living at the moment on the earth. If you are healthy both physically and mentally, you are one of the richest people living at the moment on earth. That's cool. Hey, what's up, Jesus? Jesus in the Talmud. Good to see you. Yeah, it's good to see you. If you're healthy both in the physical and mental, you are one of the richest people. Yeah, that's cool. I learned the hard way that not everyone can go vegan. Both my sister and daughter went completely insane going vegan. My daughter was good with a vegetarian diet, but vegan made her angry and bitter. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for some people. Yeah. So, what this is often, what this is, what I say vegan diets are for, if you need to get healthy. I was 235 pounds at one point, as it turned out. So, I have a Raising Cane's cup, which I had some coffee from this morning in, but it's a fried chicken restaurant. But yeah, I went vegan for health reasons. So I went vegan for health reasons, and one of the reasons I did that was also for sustainability and ethical reasons. I don't know if it's actually better or worse to eat mammals or plants, or why we think in those specific terms, how we sort of make sense of all that. But honestly, a fucking doozy of one of those questions. So You look like Jesus, to be honest. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I agree or not, but thank you. Not skinny enough. Did you guys know the Egyptians built a pyramid? The Egyptians built a pyramid on a diet of 1,000 calories a day. Less than that. It was 2 pieces of bread. Yeah, so slaves. They were all slaves. They were all slaves, as it turned out. All slaves, so yeah. I don't think slavery is a good political system, even in the ancient times, as it turns out. So, very devastating. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to be an intelligent person. I don't know. I don't try to claim to know more than good to see you. Good to see you. Right? Yeah. Yep. So so being able to get the right people in a room is also like one of those things you learn in the United States. There's a book written called Never Eat Alone. So um, yeah, yeah, a book called Never Eat Alone. Good book. I was never a networker because as it turns out, I'm neurodivergent, which is funny. But, mic isn't working. Oh, yeah. We're gonna call it a stream, guys.
Hello, hello.